Major theories of education. 5410 group activity. This is group 1D, which consists of Jimmy Lee, Iman Arif, Munira, Ronald, and Nita Tamaklu. University of the People, EDUC 5410 Child Development. What are we discussing? Theoretical models of learning illustrate how learning process works. They lay out a simple set of guidelines that teachers would use to assist students in education. A learning theory may be used to direct a teacher's instructional approach to underpin a curriculum or lesson. Cognitive, developmental, experimental, behavioral, motivational, and psychoanalytic learning theories are the most prominent. Group 1D chose to probe into the rich educative definition of the domain of proximal growth that contributed to Vygotsky developmental theory. His idea emphasizes the importance of teaching students aspects that are difficult for them to complete on their own, but are doable with the help of someone who is more experienced. And Great Kolb's experimental learning theory, which suggested learning happens in a cyclical pattern. Through each loop, learners build up their knowledge more and more.
Even though his theory of social cognitive development, known as sociocultural theory, was controversial during his lifetime, Vygotsky adamantly stood by his views and beliefs. His most admirable qualities were his belief that social interaction plays a critical role in children's learning, his belief that parents and teachers can foster learning by providing educational opportunities that lie within a child's zone of proximal development, ZBD. ZBD is when a child, using the assistance of his peers or an adult, can acquire a skill that otherwise he couldn't master on his own. Vygotsky observed that culture has a significant impact on children's learning and development. In his theory, imitation, guided learning, and collaborative learning are all essential. There is no doubt that Vygotsky is one of the most eminent psychologists in the fields of education and child development. However, his theory has faced wide criticism due to the absence of experimental tests. Vygotsky believed that social interaction was incumbent to learning. Nonetheless, his ambiguous definition of social interaction, which failed to specify the best ways to communicate with others, caused the critiques to continue, even after he died. David Kolb was a strong advocate of experiential learning. He was renowned for his 4-stage learning cycle and learning styles model. He had many respected views, the most admirable of which were his belief that learning occurs through exploration and active involvement, as experience is crucial in the forming of knowledge construction. Kolb believed that individuals could demonstrate their knowledge or the learning that occurred when they were able to apply abstract concepts to new situations. Probably the most important criticism of the Kolb's learning cycle is that depending on the learner and/or the activities they're engaged in, some stages of the process can be bypassed or repeated several times in any sequence. There is little to stop the process being reversed or sequenced in entirely different ways, depending on learner motivation, individual differences, subject being studied, and a new component Kolb probably had no reason to consider at the time: the digital tools being employed to support those learning activities.
Looking through the lens of integrity, the quality that best exemplifies Lev Vygotsky is honor. Despite the many challenges he faced in pursuing his dreams, he remained true to his religious beliefs and his dream to make a difference in the field of social learning and social interaction. While he did not get to celebrate his work during his life, his influence lives on after death in our education system today. Looking through the lens of integrity, the quality that best exemplifies David Kolb is grit. Through his research, much time was spent collecting empirical data to support his theory of experiential learning from diverse sources. His dedication to his craft and to the results that this research has produced has benefited many today and has instilled the same attitude of ethics and value that we see in our education system today. Looking through the lens of respect, the quality that best exemplifies Lev Vygotsky is scholar. As an outstanding intellect, he was respected by his peers in the 1800s and even more so today, as he remains one of the most respected developmental theorists in child development and learning. Looking through the lens of respect, the quality that best exemplifies David Kolb is transformative. While he believed knowledge is created in a repetitive cycle, he also believed that experience created transformation in the person and the knowledge that that person acquires. This can be seen on his website at dkolb.org, where he shares recent talks that he has visited as he continues to transform himself and his knowledge in his life.
Vygotsky believed that providing children with opportunities to interact with others in favorable contexts, such as play, will result in huge strides in the children's development and acquisition of knowledge and skills. His famous words, "In play, a child is always above his average age, above his daily behavior. In play, it is as though he were a head taller than himself." Kolb's perspectives on experiential learning were significantly influential in educational theories. His words had a strapping effect, the best of which were, "Integrity is not a character trait that one possesses more or less of, but a sophisticated state of processing experience in the world one enters into in varying degrees. Integrating is a major development task at every stage of life."
Words to best describe David Kolb. Number 1, psychologist. David has a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology with a minor in Philosophy and Religion from Knox College in 1961. Kolb earned his Master of Arts from Harvard in 1964 and his PhD in Social Psychology also from Harvard in 1967. Number 2, educational theorist. In 2008, David A. Kolb received the Educational Pioneers of the Year Award with Alice Kolb from the National Society of Experiential Education. Number 3, brain. This was partly due to the influence of his mother. Kolb developed an interest in learning and ideas at an early age, and as a result of this, he stood out among his peers, most of whom did not seem very interested in education at the time. Kolb recalls that he was sometimes teased and called brain by other students. 3 words to best describe Lev Vygotsky. Number 1, psychologist. Lev Vygotsky was ranked 83rd most influential psychologist in a ranking of eminent psychologists. Vygotsky was identified as 83rd most influential psychologist during the 20th century. Number 2, an author. Having written 6 books in 10 years, Vygotsky was a prolific writer, publishing 6 books on psychology topics over a 10-year period. His interests were diverse, but often centered on issues of child development and education. Number 3, was determined or focused. Having suffered tuberculosis, he still focused on his research. He completed a dissertation in 1925 on the psychology of art, but was awarded his degree in absentia due to an acute tuberculosis relapse.
The main value ascribed to Vygotsky is the zone of proximal growth, which is abbreviated as ZPD. This was developed by Vygotsky and became a core part of his theory. After a child is born, language is how they connect with others, and they continue to learn by communicating with those around them. He discussed the importance of a mentor or a teacher in the life of a student based on his concept of social interaction as the foundation for learning. One important value ascribed to David Kolb is reflection. Do, think, conclude, adapt, and repeat the cycle, which is the basis of Kolb's experimental learning, Kolb's reflective cycle. In other words, reusable ideas with wide application of abstract concept.
Vygotsky focused on child development and education. Two of Vygotsky's main principles are the more knowledgeable other and the zone of proximal development. Lev Vygotsky was right in his area because in life the things that we learn are from the people that are close to us. A good example of this is the languages that we learn. Children usually learn languages when they are with someone who knows the language already, people who are close that speak the same language. David Kolb focuses on experiential learning, which may be termed as learning by experience or when you learn by reflecting upon what you are doing. David Kolb is right in his theory area because, as the saying goes, experience is the best teacher. In Kolb's model, learning is presented as a four-stage cycle of grasping and transforming experience. Of the four stages shown in the diagram, concrete experience and abstract conceptualization are the two modes of grasping experience. Reflective observation and active experimentation are the two modes of transforming experience. Each stage lays the foundation for the one to follow.
In this section, we will be comparing Lev Vygotsky and David Kolb. Lev Vygotsky is a seminal Russian born November 17, 1896 in Ostrov. He was a prolific writer, and he is best known for his work with the sociocultural theory, the zone of proximal development, and the more knowledgeable other. While Kolb is an American theorist who was born in 1939. He is well known for his work in social psychology and experiential learning. How are these two theories alike? Both David Kolb and Lev Vygotsky were educational theorists. They believed in the power of learning through experience, and their work underpins each other in the field of education, child development, and learning. One noted difference between these two theorists is that Vygotsky was a Jewish Russian theorist in the 1800s, while Kolb was an American theorist in the 1900s. Another difference is that Kolb believed that learning occurred in 4 stages, while Vygotsky believed that learning occurred in every instance that there is social interaction between learners. One sentence to summarize the ethics of each theorist is as follows. David Kolb: knowledge is a synthesis between enjoyable and transformative experiences, as shared by Kenda Sherry, ND. While for Lev Vygotsky, social learning drives growth, not the other way around, as shared by Statues Channel 2019. In conclusion, while Lev Vygotsky and David Kolb are from different centuries, their theories of child development and learning styles have left a lasting impact on education and continues to shape child development and educational approaches today. It is for their principles, such as social learning theory, zone of proximal development, and more knowledgeable others, that we have embedded differentiation with more rigor into the teaching and learning process to meet the needs of diverse learners. Also, the understanding of concrete and abstract thinking, along with the value of reflective practice, has allowed us to be able to conference with learners about their learning and create better learning expectations. In this video, we shared the similarities and differences between Vygotsky and Kolb, their most and least admirable qualities, best quotes, values, integrity, respected works, along with many others. As a collective, we believe that Vygotsky and Kolb will continue to influence approaches to education and understanding child development for years to come.